That's good. He makes like the best smoothies. Where are you? You're generally around. Oh, I did it without ripping out the whole thing. Kudos, Sheila. Kudos. Good morning. Hey, Karen. Hey, Joanne. I need to do a to-do list already. My printer is acting up. I have ink all over my hand. It's like embedded in my nails, underneath my nails. Super fun. Hey, Sherry. Happy Wednesday. Today, my youngest child turned 13, and I'm not 100% okay with this. He has his little outfit on, his brand new Pumas. He looks so handsome. He's no longer a baby. I'm okay. I'm okay, but I'm not okay. So yeah, he's 13 today. He's off to school. In other news, my eldest daughter, she has this for me. So occasionally, like you guys probably see, like most days I have really clear skin, but sometimes either I have like flare ups and you can see like rosacea patches all over me, and sometimes I occasionally get hives for like no reason whatsoever. There was this like one time when I was 19 years old, and I was working in a call center in California, and it was, I'm not gonna name the call center because I don't want, some people are unusual. They try to like research things back in the day. So I was in school, I was in college, and I was working in this call center, and I came in and I had hives all over me, but they were itchy, but I was still able to work. So they were like, "Yeah, go ahead and work." So later that day, I went to urgent care, and they were like, "Here's some prednisone, and you should take Benadryl at night. Figure out what you're allergic to." They referred me to an ENT, and the ENT seen me like a couple days later, and they're like, "What are you?" They were trying to figure out what I was allergic to, and this is when I found out that I'm pretty much allergic to everything, including staying very long periods of time in the sun. So they gave me prednisone. I was on it for a week. I took it as needed, but I still had the hives. So my hives made people in the call center uneasy, like it was contagious. So my lead, not the manager, but the lead in my unit was like, "Look, you look disgusting, and until your hives come down, you need to stay at home." Basically was told that in some of my classes too. It made people uneasy. So for 2.5 weeks, I had hives for no reason at all. And I was told to not come to the ER unless it felt like my throat was closing. Because I went to the ER like 2 times in a row because they were like growing and they were like swollen like grapefruits. So let's fast forward some odd years later. My 19-year-old has hives all over her, and we don't know what she's allergic to. She had strep throat earlier this week, and she's on antibiotics. We don't know if she's allergic to that, but she also puts on false lashes. And I told her I'm allergic to an adhesive. Like if you put a band aid on me, my eyelids start swelling up. So I'm like, dude, so you might be allergic to um, adhesive. You never know. From the glue of the thing, she has hives from head to toe. So she went to her pediatrician. Yes, my pediatrician is really cool. He sees kids from no from birth to 25. After 25, you have to see a grown-up doctor. Um, they were like, as long as your throat's not closing, you're fine. They gave her some prednisone. They were like, look, take your Zyzol every day, but during the day, take some Benadryl because it'll stop the antihistamine. So here we go. Um, so I was like, dude, you're gonna be fine. My husband, low key, he's a little bit more emotional than I am. I love him because of that, because we're like the yin to the yang. He's like, dude, I'm gonna jab her in the leg with the EpiPen if her throat closed. I'm like, that's what you're supposed to do, but jab, you don't have to say it like jabbing her. And I was like, "She's fine, she's talking, she's good. Just make sure." I gave her her first dose of Benadryl. "Make sure you wake her up in 4 hours to give her another dose. We need to stay on top of the Benadryl so we could fight the hives." And I feel bad because I know she got it from me, and my younger son has it. Hope doesn't have it. So, I told them, like, it could flare up when you're stressed, it could flare up because of the pollen, it could flare up 'cause you're allergic to something that you don't know you're allergic to and you're using it every day. It could be something in your face wash, soap, it could be anything and everything. I'm allergic pretty much to probably myself. And I was like, sometimes it happens that you just get random flare-ups and they don't know what to do with you except giving you a steroid and, um, like, saying, "Peace be with you." Like, so she's, like, going to the ER right now because I was like I told her, "If the hives didn't go down, you need to go to the ER because they can give you IV medication, and they will monitor the hives, and they'll give you IV, steroids as well." So it's a little bit more medication, it's a little bit more, it's stronger than what they can do at urgent care and definitely stronger what they can do in office at your pediatrician. But at first, we were trying to just take her to a home. At first, her hives went down, but then they came back like Montezuma revenge, and they're like bad this morning. She has hives from her head to her toe. She even has them in her dang belly button. So I was like, her throat's not closing, so I don't think it's an emergency, but I do know what she's panicking. And when you panic and you have hives, they get worse. She does have them in her lips, inside the opener of her lips, and she's panicking. And she has them in her ears. I'm like, so Kendall's dropping her off, and I'm like, oh, the cool thing about John Hopkins emergency room, if you're underneath the age of 21, you're still considered a child. So she'll be in the pediatrician side. So she doesn't have to deal with any of the adult drama and they see you right away. So I was like, go call me if you need me and I will be on dial. Now you have to understand, literally, John Hopkins is across the street. I could walk to it across from my house and be there in like 10 less than 10 minutes. If I took the car, I will just be turning the block. So, like, call me if you need me, wear a mask, be safe. And I feel bad because my son, Kendall, has the same thing. He gets flare-ups, and my poor little boy, he gets hives on the bottom of his feet. So they go to ENT and stuff like that. There's no real explanation on why they get it. The best thing I can do because I'm older than them, my mom and dad don't have it, is that I feel like sometimes it's stress induced. I'm a person that if I'm really freaking out and stressing, I will slap a smile on my face and you will never know on the outside of what I'm feeling in the inside. I've been like that since I've been very, very young. And I think sometimes by doing that and not talking to someone what you're really feeling, your body just freaks out. Like I hold things in for a very, very long time and then I explode. Something that I'm constantly working on. I still have it to this day. I will smile in your face while I'm dying in the inside. Um, it's just that's who I am. And these two, my youngest and my oldest, are pretty much the same. They're the most jovial kids, and you would think there's nothing wrong with them until it's too late. Hope, on the other end, tells you exactly who she is, what she's feeling, how it is. She's very blunt, and it's really refreshing because she's like who I am as an adult. As a child, someone that was underneath the age of 21, my youngest and my oldest is definitely has more of my personality, where I would hide everything. As I became more confident with myself, I just started telling people how I felt and eliminating people out of my life, whether they were kin or not, or whatever, because my thing is sometimes you have to move people out of your way so you can continue to grow, and you have to eliminate people that are in your path that don't want you to grow. So I, as an adult, have it, and I noticed I had less and less hives as I got older when I relieved more and more stress. But as a child, you are always trying to hold on to anything from your past so you can remain in that fun place, especially because you have to think when they're kids, they're in elementary and junior high and stuff in high school, it's always fun. As soon as you hit 18, the world you go for like having summers off and spring breaks off to you now having to work 24/7 to pay bills, and it's a shock. So it's a real culture shock. It's like plunging into a deep end in ice cold water. So she's experiencing things as an adult that she didn't have to experience as a child, and it can be stressful. Um, and we gotta allow our kids to experience that trust stress. We can't, like, mother bird them, because if we do, then the world won't be kind. The world's not kind. You have to let them fly and just know that you'll be let them know that you're gonna be there for them. So I know she has her stress, and we cannot minimize it. We have to allow them to, as parents, realize that their stress is real stress and let them vent and talk to you. But I think her hives are, maybe a combination of something, either the antibiotics that she took, it could be the eyelash glue, and I also think it's stress. She has a boyfriend, and he just graduated, from the army, and she just seen him, but he went back in to get, a merit, something like a, to like a merit. I don't wanna say it wrong. Like, he went back in to elevate himself in the army again for another 3 months, and I think she's stressed out about that, and rightfully so. When you love someone and not be able to see them for 3 months, that has to be super hard, and you know what puppy love does. Puppy love, if they don't talk to each other in a day, it feels like eternity. So I can't minimize that because I remember what it felt like. And to be honest with you, if I didn't talk to Kendall for a day, I would probably freak the heck out. I'm not gonna lie to you. Um, from the day I met Kendall, there's never been a day I didn't talk to him. So I can't minimize that because, love is love. So I think there's a numerous things that are playing on her psyche and her mind and in her heart. So we're just monitoring her right now. And this is all taking place on my son's birthday. And he is not even worried about his birthday. He's just worried about his big sister, wanting to make sure that she's okay. So that's so far my day. And it's only like 8:30 something. So let's see. Good morning. 67 degrees. Yeah, I don't know what I don't have my tablet. It's it's quite cool. I don't know if anybody else has this, like, even if it gets, like, 60 or 70, there's, like, a nip still in the air, and when you go to, garden shops, you don't see seedlings, and the farmers are like, "Yeah, I'm not putting my seedlings out yet," and you're like, "Why?" And they're like, "We haven't had a final frost," and you're like, "How do you know?" And they're like, we know," and you're just like, "What?" It's warm, but there is still quite a Jack Frost nip still chilling in the air out here. It's even when it's, like, 72, there's, like, an essence of coldness, like, "Okay, why do I wanna wear a sweater at 72 degrees?" Good morning. Yes, cherry blossoms are blossoming. We have tulips budding, and they're absolutely, like, just so beautiful, and I know everybody in my family is suffering from allergies right now, and I'm not. Now, grant you, I know I'm a basement dweller, but I do go out to pick up my kids from school, drop them off, and do like menial work, like go and get supplies or whatever. And I'm just not suffering from them. And they usually bring them in when they walk in with their shoes and they're hugging me or laying all over me, and I'm not suffering. So hold the heck on, hold on. I'm gonna go to the singer machine because that's actually real wood. knock knock on that bad boy real quick. So, I'm not suffering right now. So oh, I look like Annie? Yeah, except I don't I'm figuring the play in the movies, they had a wig. This is thy real hair, and, it is what it is. I'm a curly girl. Yeah, she's really uncomfortable, Karen. She like she keeps coming up to me and like, "Look at my body." I'm like, baby, I know. I can see it on your face. Like it looks like when I have rosacea, except now they're starting to welt really big." Yeah, the big kids, that it's something that they don't talk about when your children become adults. It takes like it's a different generation. And here's the thing, like my biggest thing I hate is like, "Oh, well, they didn't do that when I grew up." No, they didn't, because each generation has something different. My generation, we were the beginning, the spring of social media. So no, my mom and dad cannot relate because they didn't have social media, and they did not have where our phones were like in our face 24/7. We were able to film every single thing, and that we're the generation that was like the internet doesn't die. And now my kids are part of this generation where they like blog about everything. Like, this is my eyelashes today. Look at my eyelashes. My teeth look like this today. So like each generation is going to have something different. Like their kids might have it where they have the camera that pops out of their hand, like futuristic, like The Simpsons says. Like each generation is going to have something different. And this is why I consistently say the only thing that stays the same is change. And you have to roll with it. Like I'm not gonna ever be like, my generation didn't do that. Like I learned from other past generations, you need to roll with the changes or you get left behind. Um, so like they have social media, and for her she's always for doing her Snapchat and TikTok, and this is like impact. Like you don't want to be like, hey, what's up, and everyone's like, ooh, do you have the measles? Do you what is going on with your body? Like she works hard for her body. She works out like 5 7 days a week. She's faithful to her protein and all that, and now she has something that reflects on her skin, and it's just she's like embarrassed about that. She also works in sales at AT&T, and she's like, no one's going to come to me looking like this. And on top of that, she has like her boyfriend's gone, and then she's just stressed out. And I'm like, and she just enrolled in some spring classes, and she's like, what am I supposed to do? No one's going to want to sit by me. Is everyone going to look at me differently? And she's like nonstop, like this. I'm like, okay, well, let's go to the ER. She's like, why not the urgent care? I'm like, they're not going to do IV medicine. They're just going to be like, yeah, you have hives. Stay on the prednisone. So let's just go. We did all the right thing. We took her to the pediatrician. So the next step is this and that. But I deep down inside, I know what they're going to do. They're going to give her IV. They're going to try to draw her blood to see if there's any like infections or all this, any antigens or whatever. They're going to give her IV Benadryl. They're going to give her IV steroids. They're going to circle some parts on her to see if it goes down. But the thing with these hives, they come like a Montezuma revenge. You get the Benadryl and they're all gone for 2 minutes, but then they come back like none other. They're like literally bigger. And I know what's going to happen. It just has to work her way out of their system naturally. And she needs to stay calm and collective, but it's hard to tell a 19-year-old that. So you just have to just be there, talk to her and be like, yeah, dude, that sucks. You're right. 100%. Like you can't be like, you need to stay calm. Cause the worst thing you could tell anybody in any state of mind is to stay calm. Like someone's like trying to burglarize something, like send them money. The police officer is like, stay calm. What? I'm holding up this bank, like, what do you mean stay calm? So you have to just like roll with it, especially with older kids. Good morning. Yeah, oatmeal baths do help, but the problem with is with hives, the difference between like hives and like chickenpox or shingles, hives, if you put heat on it, they grow. It's an antihistamine thing. So anything that like hives, if you put any kind of heat, it makes the problem worse and makes it itch worse. So there's no way she will take a lukewarm or cold oatmeal bath. She'll be like, yeah, no, mom. So like she like is taking cool baths and that helps relieve or cool showers and I can relieve some of the pain. But if she puts any heat on it, it's going to make the hives bigger, the it becomes itchier or whatever. This is this is just things I learned from me personally because I get random hives for no reason. Like if I'm allergic to some nail polish. I'm allergic to gel nail polish, period. I can't get acrylics. But sometimes these regular gel polishes that are like no cure, but they act like gel polish, sometimes I find out I'm allergic to them and then my eyelids swell up. That's my first sign I'm allergic to something. And like my Hope always picks it out. She's like, dude, why are your eyelids swollen? And I'm used to it. And then I know I have to put cold compresses on my eyes and it usually goes away in the morning. I learned not to freak out about it anymore, that there's nothing that the doctors really can do, that you learn remedies yourself to help relieve it. And the only time you need to panic is if your throat is swollen. And then that's when ENTs give you EpiPens, and that's when you know you need to take your merry little self onto the ER. There's just not a whole lot to do when you're allergic to the damn everything. It just sucks. And I feel bad because I thought for sure my kids were going to be out like it was just me, but apparently not for my youngest and my oldest, at all. And it sucks 'cause my youngest, he's like flag football, track, soccer, and I'm like, so this dude's on like Zyzil in the morning, Zyzil at night, and I'm just like, okay, but he's like a champ. Like Ken is not a complainer. He's like very quiet. And I think it's because he has two older sisters that are very like no, you can't do this, da, da." So, like, I think he just naturally just goes with whatever because he has very domineering sisters, and he feels like, "I gotta do what they gotta do." So, yeah, so yesterday, my phone was acting up, but I realized I know it was partly my phone and maybe the internet. So, I had, do we did Patreon for the rotary cutters and we did the accessory, we made a train case. But I had to do 2 lives because the first one went off and then the second one went off but came back on. Um the wind in my area was ridiculous. So when I was finally done, I went upstairs to let the dogs out and they were not trying to go out. And then I seen like doors and gates opening nonstop. And then when I went to get the package, I just opened up my glass door and it just swung open. I was like, okay, so Dorothy's about to come up. What's going on? The wind was crazy yesterday and I didn't know it was going to be a high wind day. And I think that's what got Kendall's allergies acting up and because all that pollen flying around plus the wind. But yeah, that wind yesterday was pretty intense. And I guess I didn't hear it being in the basement. I didn't hear it at all. I didn't hear it until I went to let the dogs out. I was like, I kept thinking they were barking because there was, like, maybe packages that Faith had or whatever. No, they were barking at the wind, like things hitting the house and whatever. I had 0 clue. And I need to start paying attention to the weather more because sometimes being down here and there's only, like, that storm window, I can't hear and see things, like, I'm literally underground, I'm in a basement. So, yeah, that I could have put on, like, the extra power router, or I could have signed into we have 2 different routing systems. There's one here directly in the basement, and there's one right above me. I could have switched back and forth to different routers if one was acting out, but I had no idea that it was windy because I myself did not check the weather. So I need to start making a note of that and check the weather each morning, especially if I'm going to do any lives with Patreon and sew things up. With that being said, we made the Betty yesterday, and no, I did not find the pop pink Velcro, and it really is ticking me off because I went in this morning to try to find it too, and I just can't find it. I have like tore apart this broom like a Tasmanian devil, and I can't find it. Someone was like, "Oh, I seen the bag. You had a Hobby Lobby bag and it was in the workout room." No, it's not because I put it in a recycling bag and it's not there. So, so I did their leather, their pebble leather, which is really pretty, and I did hot pink stitching because I used the Tula pink zipper, and I use Joe's and Adam's water resistant cotton. If you get this pattern, you need to see if they have amendment in Sally Tomatoes. So they on their website, on their patterns, if something has changed, they you just need to go to their amendment section and look up that pattern and then note it on the pattern piece. And they did change something, and I'll explain in a minute. So I put this in backwards. This is supposed to be actually up here, but it doesn't really matter. You're going to be golden if you put it in backwards because either way, it's going to zip and have the compartment. It has this really cool mesh pocket where you can put like makeup brushes, uh, art brushes, or whatever, and you have a nice little mesh pocket here. You have this section here where you could put like essential oils. So where the part that I wasn't able to do, it's 3 pieces. There you put a Velcro here, here, and then it's one piece you stick inside, and it's really easy to come together. It's very similar to how we do slip pockets. And then you just slide the foam in, and then you put Velcro at the ends, and then you can make separate compartments. Very easy. The step wouldn't take you more than 10 minutes. Now, where Sally Tomatoes pattern kind of messed up, and where I should have looked to see if they had a correction, is that their lining. So the way they do this is that the exterior stays wrong side out, and then the interior stays wrong side out, and you place it inside. They had their interior and their exterior having a 1/4 of an inch difference. With that being so, it made this have like slightly have a half an inch difference when it should have been like this is 3/8 of an inch and this is 3/4 of an inch. And then sure enough, when I looked to see if there was an amendment, they did. They had this at 3/4 of an inch versus a half inch. This is the Betty pattern from Sally Tomatoes. This is what me and the rotary cutters did. And also this is a blank space. So I think that you should do this on here so you have more cool stuff. Also, the only other thing I would modify is this is just on cotton. I would actually put these have a reinforced like stabilizer piece. But this is a really cool bag. I think again, like I told you guys yesterday, I think this would be a really good Mother's Day, Father's Day gift, grooms or bridesmaids gift, and or a gift to give to someone that's just graduating. You could be for watch jewelry. You could actually make this a really cool lunchbox if you'd use like Insulbright instead of foam. It comes together fast. I think it can be done easily on a domestic machine because it's made with foam. You just need to pick your fabrics wisely. So yeah, that we made that yesterday, and I actually had a lot of fun. I was giving tips on what I would do on modifications. The rotary cutters is the highest tier that you can be in my Patreon platform, and so we do everything that everyone else does. Plus, we do one accessory. So it was really fun putting this together. I haven't done a train case in a very, very long time. So it was great. And I truly did like doing this part. They have a very interesting way to do their elastic, and I really appreciate it because sometimes when I'm putting an elastic, your girl gets confused. So I had a lot of fun. Oh man, I just spilled like all this smoothie all over. So yeah. Hey, Brittany. So yeah, that's what I did yesterday. Today I'm going to be making a blue calla pattern. I haven't just decided if I'm going to do, I think the Alistair or the Marigold. I haven't done one of those in like 2 years, and I think I'm going to try to do one of them today, cut it out and put it together. I wanted it just to do a different shape, a different bag for AwesomeCon, and I thought these 2 bags I used to do all the time, like, when I started making bags, they're so pretty and they come together relatively quickly. They take forever for me to cut out. Again, if you're in the rotary cutters, we also cut out all like this during the sew-alongs and we cut out during the accessories, and they can probably tell you for sure that that's where my time goes. Everyone's like, "Oh, you sew fast," but man, do I cut out slow. It's one of the reasons why I don't do cutout videos is I take my time when I cut out. I'm not the greatest with the rotary cutter, and I like to cut by things with scissors and trace. I cut slow. Hi, my name is Shova, and I like to cut very, very slow. And yeah, that's just I cut slow. So these 2 patterns I like. I love Blue Calla's patterns. I love the way they come together. She writes very like direct, and you just I don't know, like you get it immediately. The way she writes, it's just like as soon as you're done with that section, you're like, oh, okay. Like it's just very direct and to the point, and I appreciate that as her writing style. And there's a couple patterns I have from her. I still haven't made that the she has like this bowler bag that's like a perfect bowling bag from like the 1950 like the 50s, and it's like this M. I'm really intimidated because it has like the same kind of um like pad shape like the Swoon Maisie, and me in that bag. Ooh, me and Maisie. Every time I do me and Maisie, and I every year I say I'm gonna try because you know your skills get approved. Like you improve your skills every year. I don't know, that back's every time I do it, there's just something off about it, and I just never like the way it looks. So, I wanna try it, but that bag does intimidate me a little bit, but I will give it a go again. I kinda wanna do it now, but I'm afraid that I'll mess it up so bad that I'll just be crying into the bag. Um, so you're gonna be cutting out yeah, cutting takes a few days. See, Lizzie, I'm glad I'm not alone. I don't know. Cutting takes a long time. Interfacing is a breeze. I usually depends, like, if I'm interfacing and, batch sewing, let's say if I have, like, 3 bags I need to interface, I'll, like, turn on my heat press, but most of the time I use my gravity feed right behind me because it's easy. It's easier for me to do, and it's hot. You just, fill it up with the charcoal thing, the water's there, and I love my gravity feed. That's like my favorite one of my favorite tools, and I don't know, I like pressing. I don't tell my husband that because he's like, "Yeah, you don't like pressing my shirts," but he has a really weird way he presses his shirts, so that's on him, and he usually steals my starches, so it becomes like the battle of the starches. Don't steal my starch. It's weird. It's weird, and I know it's he wants it because, like, I have, like, pineapple smelling one, and so don't steal my starch if you're watching this later. I see you. I see Hello. I'm out of room. Yeah, I know. I so Kindle builds stuff for me up, like up. So like when I do talk to some people like during Duo and Zoom, my room looks like it's smaller than what it is. But if you really, I don't, I really should do a new room tour. On on this side, like right here, is a leather skyver. This whole board is an ironing board. This is a wool mat, and it smells so awesomely bad. It smells like a farm whenever I iron. I thought it was gonna stop smelling like that, but it doesn't. This is drawers to put in these 3 drawers have all, bamboo lycra or whatever. I do have sergers and cover stitches, but I rarely have a chance to make stuff, and normally it's making onesies for my kids that are teenagers. So it's like they're those, and, like, it's funny because it's funny when someone sees a strike when I actually make clothes, they're like, "Wait a minute." Yeah, I do make clothes, um, but it's rare. If I make it for me, just go if you go to Charm Patterns, the Gertie page, and just look up me, there's tons of me doing rockabilly stuff. There's tons. Me and Woven are best friends, and I like to make camp shirts for Kindle. And if I can make a matching with a rockabilly dress for me, oh my god. I'm that girl. I love matchy matchy. Like, I don't know, I was trying to make us get matching shoes, and he's like, "Why, Shanova? Why?" I don't know. I'm that girl, okay? Um, and then, like, on this side, I have, like, another cabinet that's full of, like, hardware and just vinyls and stuff, and then I have a Singer sewing machine that has a Bernadette on it, and then I have my press, and then on this side is nothing but how I, like, store my bags and just fabrics. And that's what I was telling you, how I store things, me not being able to locate something is driving me abs I still haven't located the, Cat Noir panel, like, it is driving me nuts, and if I find it after AwesomeCon, oh man, I'm gonna be pissed. I'm gonna be pissed. I cannot find it, and I know exactly where it was, and that's the part that's driving me nuts, and nobody is gonna come in here and mess with it. Maybe Hope, I don't know, she's after all, she is my child, and sh so, um, and so I'm still trying to find that. I yeah, because the both voice actors from that show is gonna be there. So so yeah, that's what I'm doing today. So, I hope everyone has a really good day, and I will see you tomorrow on Thursday, and I hope everyone gets this chance to sew. If not, have a just a magical day.